How's this for a surprise? Toyota Motor Philippines is actually expanding its lineup by spinning off the Veloz as its own separate model away from the Avanza MPV. Now, is there any reason why they need to do this? And let's find out if the Veloz is just a tart to the Avanza or does it really deserve its own nameplate? Let's go check it out. Alright, so what we have here is the top of the line Veloz 1.5V. There are actually two variants for the Veloz, and that's the 1.5G and the 1.5V. The visual differences between these two variants is actually quite minimal. The Toyota Motor Philippines opted not to put a badge at the back. Now, differentiating the Veloz compared to the Avanza on which it's based on, you get this unique front fascia with a cross-inspired grille. It's actually large, makes the Veloz more menacing and more SUV-like. The headlights are also the same, they're LED headlights, but for the Veloz, they get sequential turn signal indicators up here at the front. Towards the side, you get 17-inch alloy wheels, and as a Philippine exclusive, you get these black over fenders. Another thing that's probably something more SUV-ish with the Veloz is actually these roof rails. Towards the back, another big visual difference with the Veloz compared to the Avanza would be the full-width LED taillights. Now, take note, these aren't just garnishes that don't turn on at night, but these actually light up so that when you're stuck in traffic, you'll actually be able to tell if that's a Veloz or an Avanza.
The Toyota Veloz shares the same 1.5-liter four-cylinder engine found in the Avanza. The Veloz produces 106 horsepower and 138 Nm of torque. Like the Avanza, it also has a DCVT system. Short for dual-mode CVT, it adds a gear drive to the typical belt-driven system. A clutch pack engages and disengages the gear depending on the driving situation. This should help produce excellent fuel economy figures while also improving its engagement and drivability. In terms of dynamics, it's very clear that some compromises had to be done to accommodate the Veloz's rated 7-seater capacity. It rides more firmly and gets jolted more easily by cracked pavements or road corrugations. However, despite the lack of damping, at least there's a sense of solidity baked in. Moreover, once it's filled up with more passengers, the ride settles down.
Alright, so stepping inside the Veloz, it's still very clear that it's based off the all-new Avanza. But because Toyota Motor Philippines spun it off as its different model altogether, there are a lot more luxury accoutrements befitting its new positioning. For example, you get this two-tone interior trim with a padded dashboard and the Veloz label right here. You also get a larger LCD screen in the instrument cluster with a digital speedometer on the other side. You also get a larger 9-inch infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, an electronic parking brake with auto hold, which means it's perfect for navigating through stop-and-go traffic, and a Qi wireless charger to keep your compatible smartphones juiced up when you don't have cables. Speaking about cables, one thing I realized is that yes, you still do need to connect onto the Apple CarPlay via a USB port, but you don't find the USB port anywhere here. To keep it clean, Toyota actually migrated the USB ports to the sides. And okay, it may be a bit difficult to find at first, but once you get the hang of it, it can keep your devices actually connected to the infotainment system. Another thing that separates the Veloz from the Avanza is the availability of Toyota Safety Sense. The TSS system is actually located here to the left side of the steering wheel, and you get functionalities such as automatic high beam, forward collision warning with automatic braking, blind spot indicators with rear cross traffic alert, as well as the usual 6 airbags, ABS stability control, and a 360 camera. One thing that's noticeably missing is cruise control, so you don't get adaptive cruise control on the Veloz. Now that I'm inside the all-new Veloz, you can see that the amount of knee space here is quite huge. I actually have the second row slid all the way back. If I do move it forward, it's still livable if you want to, if there's like going to be like a 6-footer sitting in your third row. Now, another thing that makes the Veloz different from the Avanza is the seating material itself. In the Veloz, you get a combination leather and suede, which in the Avanza, it's just pure fabric. Alright, now when it comes to the interior, Toyota has pretty much just made this ultimate flex move when it comes to the Veloz and the Avanza. Shifting to an all-new platform, they were able to extract a lot more space compared to its predecessor. And you can see it right here. The amount of slide that the second row provides means that you can distribute space between the second and third row to actually accommodate larger people. But if you do find yourself wanting to relax in maybe a parking lot or in a picnic ground, the second and third row can actually combine to form this unique sofa mode. If you don't want the second and third row to be combined, you can do the same with the front and the second row as well. Another thing that makes the interior so flexible is the amount of pockets that you get here in the back seat. So aside from the traditional seat back pocket right here, there are also stuff here on top that you can put things like iPhones and maybe like a small pack of tissue. If you do put your smartphone here, there's actually a nifty connector here, so a 2.1 amp connector, so you can actually have those devices charged up at any time. Now, if you're concerned about Manila's unrelenting heat, don't worry. The Avanza is able to keep the rear venting system, and this time around it's actually smarter because the flow of air can actually be directed much slower compared to before. So you can actually divide the vents between the second and third row so everyone will feel comfortable. Whether you're Team SUV or Team MPV, the Veloz has you covered. Toyota Motor Philippines has actually done their homework in coming up with a safe, practical, stylish, and above all, spacious 7-seater subcompact SUV. You can check out the all-new Veloz yourself at any of Toyota's authorized dealerships nationwide. This has been Ulysses Ang for CarGuide.PH.